Well, welcome to week 21. Can you believe it? We're going to have a really fun unit this week. We're talking about measuring and geometry kind of merging together to find perimeter, area, and volume of different shapes, mostly rectangular shapes and rectangular prisms. So let's take a look at that. If we wanted to find perimeter of a shape, we would be finding the length around the edge or rim of a shape. And we would do that by adding up all the sides together. Look, I only have two of them labeled here, but I know in a rectangle that opposite sides are congruent. And so I can fill in those missing values, and now I can add them all up. Some kids will choose to add up the length plus the width and then double it. That's called finding the perimeter. Or you can just add them up one at a time. And the other thing to note about perimeter is that when we're adding up side plus side plus side plus side, we're measuring just in a straight line. So our unit of measure, like here it's inches, would just stay inches because we're just measuring in a straight line. Unlike the next skill that we're going to explore of area. You might remember this from third and fourth grade. In third and fourth grade, sometimes they would have you just count up all the flat square units that it takes to make up or cover a shape. In fifth grade, we're going to start applying some formulas, and we're going to figure out how many square units it takes to cover the surface of this rectangle by applying a formula. And that formula, all I need is the measurement of the length and the measurement of the width. And I can apply a formula, area equals length times width. It's kind of a faster way to find the area of a rectangular shape. And now I can substitute those values in, and then I can solve to figure out that I would have 18 inches. But listen, they're not just flat, straight lines, right? It's a square unit. So you're going to see a tiny little 2 hovering up in the air above your units to show that we're talking about square units. And that is one of the things that I often forget. So if I forget, you can remind me. So we'll be measuring in square inches. And then last but not least is our volume formula. We'll get to this at the very end of the week. To find volume, we're measuring in a 3D space. And so what we can do is we can find the area of the base, and then we can multiply it by however tall or deep this shape is. And again, this formula is only going to work for rectangular prisms. That's what we'll focus on for this week. Almost everything we measure in life actually is a rectangular prism, so that works out great. And the formula for volume is length times width, which remember is just the area of the base, and then multiply that by how high or how tall or how deep that shape is. So I'm going to plug my values in here, or substitute is the fancy way to say it. And then after I do that, I can see that, apply my computation, which I did so you didn't have to watch me. I froze the computer for a second, but I ended up with 7,500. Now listen, these are centimeters, but they're not just plain centimeters. They're cubes. They're little 3D cubes. So you're going to see a tiny little 3 that hovers above the unit when we're talking about finding volume. And some kids will remember this like a little 3 because we're measuring in 3D shapes, or in other words, in cubic units. So this unit is fun because it's very real world. We use it all the time, and almost everything in the classroom that you can see was done either finding perimeter or area, painting the walls, making curtains, putting stuff in the windows, making dry erase board rims, all of it. So it's very applicable to real life, and that always makes it kind of fun to teach. We'll move through all of these this week, so have your thinking cap on and be ready to do some measuring and some formulas.